This is the big story right here on Quest Television. And now to the conversation of the day. President Bola Tinubu has signed the Electoral Act 2026 amendment into law around 5 p.m. on Wednesday at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja, with senior National Assembly officials in attendance. It came barely 24 hours after the bill was passed by both chambers of the National Assembly. Opposition parties and civil society organizations have condemned President Bola Tinubu's assent to the Electoral Act 2026, describing the move as a setback to Nigeria's democratic progress and a legislation of electoral manipulation ahead of the 2027 general elections. The People's Democratic Party alleged that the ruling All Progressives Congress fear of losing the upcoming elections drove what is called rushed approval of the contentious legislation, which the party described as a threat to the country's democratic process. Let's have a look at how the president signed the law yesterday.
I followed keenly what you are doing. The essence of democracy is to have, very solid brainstorming discussions committed to national development and nation building, the stability of the nation. It's not as important as the history aspect of this. What is crucial is the fact that you manage the process to the extent there will be no confusion, no disenfranchisement of Nigerians, and that we are all going to see democracy flourish. It is time that we have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and the result is finalized by the people. In fact, for final results, you are not going to be talking to the computer, you are going to be talking to human beings who will announce the final results. And when you look at the crux of various arguments, maybe Nigeria should question our broadband capability. How technically are we today? How technically will we be tomorrow to answer the call of either read time or no? And as long as you appear personally as a manual voter in any polling booth, but ballot paper is given to you manually, you decide in a corner and thumbprint the party of your choice, you cast your vote without hindrance and any interference. Ballots are subsequently counted manually, sorted and counted manually. It's just the arithmetic accuracy that is entered into from easy. It's still manual, essentially. The transmission of that manual result is what we're looking at. And we need to avoid glitches. I'm glad you did. Interference, unnecessary hacking in this age of, computer inquisitiveness. Nigeria will be there. We will flourish. We will continue to nurture this democracy for the fulfillment of our dream.
All right, so That was the president yesterday at 5 p.m. signing the controversial Electoral Act into law. And just like we said on the newspaper review this morning, it's as good as done. There is no going back, and we don't know if a new, should I say a new amendment, thank you, will come anytime soon. Of course, the last time was in 2022, and this is 2026, 4 years. Of course, we know that the most talked about clause in all of this is the clause 60 sub 3, that the real-time clause has been removed. And the president said he commended the Senate, for having a robust deliberation on the amendment bill, which is now an act. And he said it is still human beings that will still, count. It is still human beings that will vote. Well, this is as good as done, but I just want to get your take on this story this morning. President Bola Tinubu, by the way, the opposition are saying that it's too hasty. Naturally, if something is controversial, it's important that it wait a little bit for all the storms and tornado and tsunami, whatever, to calm. But the president has signed it into law, and there's nothing that can happen again. All of the appeal that Nigerians are calling for is as good as dead right now. The only thing is in 2027 when it's time to vote. But this should be our final take on this conversation.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it looks like.
Something I'll start with you.
That's what it looks like right now. What this shows is an utter disregard for Nigerians.
Oh, really?
That's what it is. Because if it were not so, then we wouldn't have seen a straight up signing of this thing.
Okay.
Not after the kind of displays we saw in the National Assembly. Okay. It is obvious that, and some of the protesters were talking about how they have not given up on this thing, that they are still going to come back again and still continue on their protest. Now, this is something that you cannot take for granted. You cannot take lightly. It means these people, the vast majority of Nigerians are still not satisfied. So how do you go into an election knowing fully that the people who are going to come out to vote are not happy about coming to do that thing, right, which is voting? Now, what we're going to see, we risk seeing low voter turnout. I don't know if this is going to play out in favor of the APC, or it's going to play out in favor of some other parties. Anyways, but I don't want to believe that that's going to be the case. Maybe the Nigerians who are so angry about this new development would rather come out still vote regardless, overwhelmingly. This could be a trigger for many Nigerians to even come out. I think this is the likelihood, because they would rather not leave the system free, okay, to be exploited by anybody who wishes to exploit it. They would rather want to put in their vote so that it would be overwhelming enough that nobody can deny or dispute it. Okay, certainly. So, but what this shows is a political class that doesn't feel like Nigerians, the populace, okay, the electorate, has a voice that should be taken seriously.
Let me come to the gentle. Are you gentle actually for me?
I'll leave you to answer that.
Let me come to the gentlewoman.
You tend to be affected by my calmness
Yeah.
over this topic. I mean, what else are we going to do? Just like you said, it is finished.
The last person to say that was Jesus on the
Yeah,
cross.
so finished temporarily until whenever. But Mr. President, sir, the very way you analyzed that computers will not talk, It's human being who's still going to announce that. That at the end of the day, it's still human beings who are going to, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, operate the computers or the device. Well, my question is, why didn't you give the people what they wanted? Even what the Nigerians want is still human being that is still going to punch in the instruction. But this is what Nigerians want. About the hastiness of signing this bill, honestly, and look at telcos coming up now to tell us that Nigeria actually has what it takes when it comes to, because their major defense was network and all that, and the president's defense this morning from the story we read is a little bit different, but not so satisfying. It's not so satisfying that at the end of the day, it's human beings. And at the end of the day as well, it's the human beings that are coming to vote. That is what it is. And those people who are coming to vote are saying, give us real-time transmission. It boils down to what the conversation we had yesterday. Why is this so hard? Why is this causing chaos? Why the back and forth? And again, in the swiftness of signing this, I mean, the lawmakers, I never knew that they could, you remember the drama with the deputy Benjamin Kalu.
Yeah.
The drama, it's always about, let us do it fast, quick. Omengwa. Do you get? For you that doesn't understand the Igbo, Omengwa is somebody who does this. Oh, no. Right? So why the hastiness? Why always in the move? Let us start now. And yes, it's glaring that it is so far. We still have time. This is February 2026.
The president said there's a particular line of his statement that I want to draw out. Just a moment. He said that he raised concerns about Nigeria's current broadband infrastructure and technical capacity to handle real-time electronic transmission of election results when he signed that Electoral Act into law. I think you just mentioned what the telcos have said as regarding these.
They have been part of this whole conversation.
Exactly. I think they should. When you look at Nigeria's when you look at Nigeria's connectivity landscape, for instance, of course we know that yes, in some regions of the country, the connectivity ratio there is lower than in some regions, like let's say Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, maybe Delta State, even Anambra as well, and some other part of the country, especially in the northern region. But I think the ratio, or if you are to put all the 36 states together, according to what we've said, as of 2025, as of early 2026, the telcos are saying that Nigeria's broadband penetration sits at approximately 50 to 60%. Now, and we've progressed from 2G to 3G to 4, and even in some parts of the country, and even in some devices, you can actually access 5G. And based on what the telco chief said, that Nigeria can actually transmit results with 2G. So what are the challenges? Why should there be a halt to electronic transmission of results? That's just number one. When you look at in terms of connectivity, I remember that the government also launched what we call the Bridge Project to expand our national fiber optic backbone from 35,000 kilometer to 125,000 kilometer. And this is going to cover a lot of regions in Nigeria. Is it that we cannot do this year if we want to have a free and credible election in 2027? So I really don't know. I just think that we don't want to do it. That is it.
Now
We don't want it.
Now it's not even a matter of doing this, setting up the telecoms infrastructure to enable e-transmission of results this year. Doing so this year would even be a serious sign of incompetence. Okay, this is something that if our political leaders were ever committed to a transparent system of election, as soon as the new administration came on board yesterday, I'm sorry, not yesterday, I must say that year,
last time,
during the last election, 2023, yes, and seeing what happened during the election,
There were technical
a lot of technical glitches.
You
start preparing for the next one. But with what we've just seen here right now, it tells us that, okay, the previous election, with all of the technical glitches, some people, they benefited from it and they would like to see it still happen again. Because a very, very proactive government would see something like that and be like, nah, this is not good. This doesn't tell well for my country. Now, as soon as as it is now, I have come into the system. Like, you just came out of that experience, you would want to fix it. You would want to fix it.
You remember when I called for one of our conversations this week that I said that Nigerians, we have capable hands when it comes to tech and all that. So what will INEC be preparing with these humongous budgets that they demanded from the Nigerians? Like, what is the preparation? Like Samson said, what has been happening all along since 2023 until now? Because obviously what their defense is going to be, there's no time for us to start doing. Telcos are answering you. Nigerians are saying this is what we want. And just a group of you are saying that it's not going to work. Why won't it work? Nigeria is not ready. How so? How do you know Nigeria is not ready? These all points and boils down to one particular thing that I said something yesterday, that some persons are afraid. Not afraid somebody is going to slap them. Not afraid somebody is going to, drag them by their clothes. But they are afraid that of the readiness of the citizens this time around. The readiness, because it's spelled out that we can't just allow some of you who are not maybe academically sound more than some of the average Nigerians, be pressing us like we are inanimate objects. Nigerians are so fed up and they are feeling the air.
Definitely.
Well, but I think it's not the end of the road as well for Nigerians. Manual backup, well, that's cool. It's also up to the parties, all the political parties that will be involved in the next election, even beginning from this election, to really put their hands on deck, honestly, and have agents. If you want to have a free and credible election, like with what I've seen in previous elections, there are party agents everywhere.
Calculation, because we know the Nigeria we are in today. And what money does. You talked about money yesterday. Like, let me give an example. Igbos believe that the recent movement of the city boys. As a Nigerian, you have every right to, belong to any political party that you want. You have every right to support whoever you want to support. But Igbos believe that these forerunners of the city boys are being bought over. But we also know in this country what money can do. We saw that play out in the previous election. We also saw that in the recent election, the likes of Anambra State.
But I don't think it's going to play out in 2027.
So that is why people are frowning at this. When you talk about agents, leave this agent thing. Just even me, I don't trust myself. Shall leave the agent. Let us go for something that at least will cut.
Chances of
reasonably
rigging.
Chances of rigging.
Now, very quickly, let me just read what the president said yesterday. Now, part of what he said, amongst the many things he said, what is crucial is that you manage the process to the extent that there will be no confusion and no disenfranchisement of Nigerians, and we're all going to see democracy flourish. Okay, now what he's saying is this whole thing, allowing manual
collation of results.
Into the allowing it as part of the system as well too is also in a bid to not disenfranchise a lot of Nigerians, those ones that will not have network coverage in their areas. Okay, but then the thing is, with this whole thing like this, you risk disenfranchising a whole lot of Nigerians, because when you go and cast your ballot and it doesn't count, you've been disenfranchised, regardless of the fact that you had the chance to go cast your ballot. You were exercising your franchise, but by the time your vote doesn't count, you've been disenfranchised. Okay, so this is rather something that would disenfranchise a lot of Nigerians if not being played right, contrary to what the president says he's actually working for.
The ball is in the court of Nigerians to go out there when it's time to vote.